Yeah, welcome and welcome back to another episode of the Format Podcast. Got a pretty interesting show for you here today, so thanks for joining. Going to talk some Justin Herbert, and is he really what they say he is, or what a lot of people think he is? Stick around and find out. But if you haven't already and you're here on YouTube, please go ahead, click that subscribe, that like, and that notification bell. If you want the audio only version of the podcast, open up your audio podcast platform, hit the search bar, type in the Format Podcast. We should come right up. If you're enjoying the content, please give us that 5-star review. If you're on YouTube, give us that like. And of course, leave a comment wherever you listen or wherever you watch. We love those, and we do our best to try to get back to you as soon as possible because the interaction is just great and it lets me know you're watching and listening. So definitely appreciate that. All right. So the last thing I'm going to ask of you is make sure if you're enjoying it, go ahead and share it with other people who want to hear sports talk and might want to hear a different voice and a different opinion than you will hear on all the mainstream sports media talk shows. You do this, it helps us find more sports fans, helps more sports fans find us. Let's get right to it. Okay, Justin Herbert. This guy is, for lack of better words, he's been crowned too early in my estimation. This is a guy who is extremely talented, right? He's a prototypical quarterback, about 6'6", about 220, 230. He's got the rocket arm. He's mobile. He's smart. He can process. He's got all the tools, except he doesn't win enough, right? We've been hearing Justin Herbert get anointed since his first year in the league, in which he set the rookie touchdown passes record with 31, breaking Baker Mayfield's, I think, 27. And we'll talk about that a little later. But a lot of people have been talking about Justin Herbert, and me, I've always asked the question, is he really what we think he is? And I personally don't believe it. He's very good. He's very talented. He's got all the tools, but I think he's overrated. And I talked about him on a previous episode, and I had a viewer actually leave me like 3 solid paragraphs of comments on YouTube. You know who you are. Thanks so much for doing that. And really breaking down to me why he thinks that Justin Herbert is the guy that they say he is. But, you know, I'm going to kind of refute that, and we'll talk about it. But before we get to that, after the Chargers lost to the Dallas Cowboys on Monday Night Football last week, Rob Parker and Chris Broussard on their radio show the next night, The Odd Couple on Fox Sports Radio, they actually talked about it for a little while. And let's check out some of the things they had to say about Justin Herbert. Then we'll come back and we'll talk about it.
Herbert, Rob, put up good numbers, not so much last night, but this season he's been putting up his typical good numbers, but the team is 2-3. And as I said, for his career, with all the gaudy stats, Rob, he's 27-27 as a starter. So what are your thoughts on Justin Herbert?
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I do get it. I mean, he's a prototypical quarterback size and the Greek god, all that. And oh my God, look at him. He looks like a quarterback.
6'6".
Yeah. I mean, he does. And that was like the prototypical quarterback you want to have. But he's come up short. I think he has to drop a tier from where people have always ranked him higher. And I think people are enamored by his size and his arm and his looks and all these other things. And he has not lived up to the billing other than the expectations. And when people talk about Herbert, it is about the expectations. It is about what you expect him to eventually be and do. But he hasn't done enough of those to be put in with the tier 1 quarterback.
That's fair. There's no doubt about it. And let me say this, Rob, because some people might be sitting out there thinking, wait a minute, Justin Herbert's numbers look good. Even this year, okay? He's 5th in the league in total in yards per, 6th in the league in yards per game, 267. He's got 9 touchdowns in 5 games and only 2 interceptions. His passer rating is over 100, so he's in the top 5 in that. And so his numbers look good, as to be honest, they always do. Ever since he's been in the league, the numbers have been looking good. And I'm not making a definitive statement on this, Rob. Physically, he has all the tools, not just the size and all of that, but he has the arm, he has the athleticism. He's great physically in every respect. And Rob, here's one of the stats, it's actually 2 of them, that makes me question that. One.
Okay, so there you have it. These are 2 guys that have been around the block in terms of sports writing, sports commentary, sports reporting for many years. They are veterans in the game, award-winning, highly respected sports journalists, right? And that doesn't mean that everything they say is right. And there's a lot of times that I don't agree with certain things they say. But in this case, I think that they're 100% on the money. Now, am I saying Justin Herbert is a bum? Because I know in 2023, if you don't worship a player, you're a quote unquote hater, especially an old head hater, right? And you don't give dudes the love that they think they should get, you're a hater and you're saying they're a bum. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, I think that he was anointed way too quickly, and we should step back and wait for him to prove more before he does that. What am I talking about on this? Now, you heard some of the things that Rob Parker and Chris Broussard talked about in that clip. And for me, the biggest thing is that this is a guy who, as a starting quarterback in the league, is 27-27, 500. Now, don't get me wrong, fully aware that he does not have the best support from the sidelines. What do I mean by that? Brandon Staley's a bad coach, flat out. He should not have this job. He's got a quarterback that's that talented. Yes, I'm saying he's extremely talented. You got a quarterback that's that talented. You got a lot of weapons. You have good players on defense. You have Khalil Mack, who's a really great pass rusher. You've got a good team and a lot of weapons and tools around you, and you should be better off than you are. But Brandon Staley consistently makes like boneheaded decisions in the coaching side. But anyway, that's for another day. Now, Justin Herbert, let's go to the first thing I touched on even before the clip started in this video. He's got the rookie touchdown passes record of 31 touchdown passes as a rookie. Now, let's take a couple of things into account, right? You always hear me talk, whether it's football or basketball, about degree of difficulty. For instance, if we both run 100 meters and I had to run the 100 meters uphill and you ran it on a flat course, are you really that much faster, right? So we know that the modern NFL is a much more pass-heavy league. They don't rely on running the ball as much. They get many, many more attempts at throwing the ball, which also inflates quarterback numbers, inflates receiver numbers, deflates running back numbers, and also inflates pass rusher sack numbers, and in some cases, interception numbers, right? So all these things are changed by the fact that the game is played in such a different way. Now, that doesn't mean that today's quarterbacks aren't outstanding, because on the whole, today's quarterbacks are more athletic. The offensive schemes are more complex. The defensive schemes are more complex. We heard Dan Marino say that. So you still have to be very good at what you do, but at the same time, you get so many more opportunities and cracks at to set these records. Now, Justin Herbert played in 15 games as a rookie, right? Baker Mayfield, who had the previous touchdown record of 27 touchdown passes as a rookie, only played in 14 games and started 13. So now you can say, well, that's only one game difference, but at the end of the day, it's one more game. So that's one more opportunity to throw more touchdown passes. So was he that much better than Baker as a rookie? No, but if you don't dig a little bit into the weeds on this record, then you'll just look at it and say, oh, well, Justin Herbert's got the rookie touchdown passes record. And that's cool. He did that. Respect due. But like I always say, you got to look at things a little bit closer. Next up, Justin Herbert is the only player in NFL history to reach 600 completions through the first 25 starts of a career at quarterback. And he did this in his 23rd start. Again, absolutely incredible. He's got good weapons. He's a tremendous quarterback, no doubt. But is he what they say he is in terms of ranking him as highly as they do? Many more attempts than the guys who came before him. That's just what it is, right? It's a lot like in the NBA. You see all these guys that are elite snipers and marksmen from the three. Yeah, they shoot a lot more threes. They have the green light to shoot a lot more threes. So yeah, they're gonna make a lot more threes. If Reggie Miller, Glenn Rice, Mitch Richmond, Hersey Hawkins, all these guys played today, their 3-point numbers would be through the roof as well. Now you can't fault the guys who played today for when they were born. That is what it is. But we also need to take that into account and talk a little bit of context. All right. Next up. According to StatMuse, I actually looked this up before we started recording here. Justin Herbert has the most passing yards by a quarterback in his first 3 seasons with 14,089 yards. Again, it's the same thing that I keep bringing up. The way the game is played today is so much more different. And the other factor is you can't hit quarterbacks the way you used to, can't hit receivers the way you used to. So it makes it so much easier to complete these passes. Yes, defensive schemes are more complex, but they have to be, because the league has tried to take physicality out of the game. In just about every major team sport, they've tried to take physicality out to favor the offense. What does that have to do with? That has to do with the fantasy football, that has to do with the gambling, etc., right? They all want the high scoring, they all want high flying, because they assume that it's more exciting to the casual fan, which I suppose it is. But there's nothing, in my estimation, like a good defensive battle to see who can win the chess match, and eventually, get the points necessary and needed to win that game. And also a great defensive battle, again, comes down to physicality, imposing your will on the other team and the other man, which at its core is what football is all about. But anyway, so Justin Herbert has the most passing yards by a quarterback in his first 3 seasons. Next, Justin Herbert is second on the all-time list for most passing touchdowns by a quarterback in his first 3 seasons. Of course, Dan Marino is first with 98. Justin Herbert is second with 94. Now, quick note, and I've talked about this before on other episodes. The way the game was played in the early to mid 80s when Dan Marino first came into the league, it was a run first league. It was a defense first league, right? Run and defense. Stop the ball. Run the ball, stop the run. Run the ball, stop the run. Stop me if you've heard that before, right? I say it constantly. Simple football mantras that win and are timeless. Just ask the San Francisco 49ers. They'll tell you. Even ask the Dallas Cowboys. When they were at their best, what were they doing? Running the ball and stopping the run with Zeke, right? That's literally what got Dak paid. He'll tell you. Anyway, Justin Herbert is second all time with 94 passing touchdowns in his first 3 years. And that tells you how incredible Dan Marino was in his career, that he was able to light it up the way he was in an era where guys did not throw the football like that. Okay. So yeah, credit due for what Justin Herbert's been able to do. But at the same time, got to keep saying it. The way the game is played plays such a huge role, right? Now, here's some interesting stats on the flip side. So the people who love Justin Herbert and want to build him up as being something maybe more than he is, love to tout those stats that I just gave you, right? Second all time in terms of most passing touchdowns in his first 3 seasons, most passing yards in his first 3 seasons, rookie touchdown passing record, all that. Great, got it. But now here's the other thing. We don't talk about this very often, and unless you listen to certain shows or unless you do the research yourself, you wouldn't even know this. Justin Herbert entered the NFL in the year 2020. And since then, he is number 1 in fourth quarter interceptions with 16 since 2020. Now, most people will tell you, right? And it's actually true that most NFL games are 1 score or less, right? And so the fourth quarter is what we call nut cutting time, right? That's when it comes down to it. And in that fourth quarter, Justin Herbert is giving away the ball, literally giving away the ball more than any other quarterback since he entered the league. Okay. By the way, quick note, Russell Wilson is 5th on that list. And I keep saying it. Is Russell Wilson as great as they say? Or was his early success, despite his own ability and his hard work, more a product of beast mode and the Legion of Boom? I'll leave that with you. You know where I stand on it. All right. Also, since Justin Herbert's been in the league, in 1-score games, he has 13 interceptions in the fourth quarter. So he leads the league since he's entered the league with 16 fourth quarter interceptions overall. But in games that were 1 score, where basically, a drive could have won the game or tied it, he leads the league with 13 interceptions. But how come no one talks about this? It's almost like he's a Dallas Cowboy. But anyway, if you watch my show on Michael Parsons, then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about with that one. But anyway, so we love to build up Justin Herbert, talk about what he is and how fantastic he is and how he's being wasted by Brandon Staley and how everybody wants to get an opportunity to get him if you're an offensive coach and he's the next great guy and this, that, and the third, and he's prototypical and he's got the size and the arm strength and the mobility and all that. Got you. Check Roger. He's got all that. No question about it. But the fact is, when it comes down to it, he's not the guy that you want, right? He's worse than Dak Prescott in the last 3 years in those moments. And that says a lot, right? We got to stop acting like we only see one side of it. And we got to stop playing that fence and giving Justin Herbert more credit than he's due. But what I want to know from you is, based on what I told you here today, do you think Justin Herbert is what they say he is? Do you think that he's going to be that guy going forward? Do you think that we need to pay more attention to his flaws instead of just ignoring them and act like they don't exist? Leave your comments in the comment section. Can't wait to hear from you. And I'll get back with you next time. And I'm out. Peace.